Hey friends, welcome to Friday, welcome to the weekend. We're back at it with some more jersey concepts. This time Yuri is the designer and he sent in 32 reverse retro concepts. It's actually been kind of a couple of months since we looked at a good set of reverse retros. There was a ton leading up to the release of the 2.0s, and then after that we had a couple to look at, but it's been a while. I'm looking forward to getting into these. I've not seen these. You and I can react together. If you're new, I would love it if you could hit the subscribe button. We do this every Friday on the channel. Thank you, Yuri, for submitting these. Let's jump in. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna bring it up on my screen here. Oh, okay. Good first one. I just need to resize up my screen. Apologies. Get comfy. We always get comfy. Get your snacks, get your drinks. Let's go. So Anaheim, we've got an orange primary jersey here, which is a good callback to, I guess the design, is a good callback to some history. You see 1993 in the back of the neck there. And this makes pretty logical sense, actually, because going back to the original design, but adding in more of the orange, which they've influenced quite a bit throughout their recent history. And my only criticism, small bit of criticism, is the green in the logo, which is, I guess, the original logo. There's no other green in the rest of the jersey, so that green in the logo feels a little bit out of place. I like to see maybe just a dash of that somewhere, maybe this line up here in the neck or down below somewhere, just to add a little bit of balance there. Personal preference. Could even be the outline in the numbers or something, but good start. Next, an Arizona Coyotes almost two-tone jersey, primarily black with the burgundy as the secondary, so we're missing some of the other colors from their branding. But this is a nice throwback, actually. And 2007, you see it in the back of the collar. A little plain, but honestly, it looks pretty good. I think that would look actually fantastic in uniform. Good stuff. Next, the Boston Bruins from 1940, and there is no Boston Bruins logo. We just have the 4 and the 0 on the front of the jersey. This is almost always going to be a miss for me personally, just because when I see numbers in the front of the jersey that big, it screams football to me, or some other sport. It doesn't really matter, but rugby, maybe rugby does it. I don't know, but it just does. It's not hockey for me. I don't mind when teams put the number up small, like up here. Buffalo's done that. Vancouver's done that. So that's just a little bit too big for me. The jersey design in itself is decent. I'm just not a fan of that preference on the logo from Yuri. I would have a different preference personally. Moving on to, the Buffalo Sabres. 1970 is the year. That is a very interesting, it's gray, or is it silver? What's the difference? And I think the red complements nicely. I think the black complements nicely. The logo being outlined in red is, I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted. I don't think this is an amazing jersey concept, but at the same time, it's so different than anything else that I've ever seen from Buffalo or from, a concept designer doing a Buffalo jersey, that I like it. I like the numbers. The numbers stand out really, really well. The logo seems off to me for some reason. I can't really put my finger on it, but I like this approach. I think this would look good in uniform as well. Next, the Carolina Hurricanes 2013 is the callback year, using a bit of Hartford Whalers influence, I see. And, I've said this a bunch on the channel, looking at these jerseys. I think time has passed for the Whalers influence, but this does look really good in the same breath. So I had nothing negative to say about it. Good stuff. Oh, okay, Columbus, Cleveland Barons. So, I guess this would technically work, kind of. If I'm not mistaken, the Cleveland Barons came from the California Golden Seals, and they, I believe, only lasted 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comment section, but I think the Cleveland Barons only were in the league for 2 years. And I think it was the NHL. It wasn't the WHL. I think it was the NHL. And I think they eventually became the Minnesota North Stars or merged with the Minnesota North Stars. I can't remember the exact story, but this isn't technically Columbus Blue Jackets history. The Blue Jackets only have their own history. So I can kind of see, this goes California, Cleveland, Minnesota, and I guess Dallas. So Dallas isn't going to use the Cleveland Barons stuff, and Minnesota's not going to use the Cleveland Barons stuff. So why not Columbus, I guess, is the circle that we've come back to. So yeah, they have the rights, I guess. The colors are very similar. And this jersey does look good. I'm not a big fan of the logo, but if you're going to go back to the reverse retro, why not use it? So that makes sense logically from Yuri. I love the numbers on the shoulders. That is awesome. Good stuff. Okay, Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames with the Atlanta Flames influence. This isn't that far-fetched at all because the Calgary Flames, for their assistant captains, use that logo as the A on the jersey. I don't believe they do it in every single jersey that they have, but they've used it in the past and they use it on some jerseys. So it looks good. This looks good. It looks good in black as well. It also reminds me a little bit of the Calgary Hitmen jerseys. Maybe not the current ones, but I believe they used black as the primary color for a very long time. So this totally fits in with the Calgary theme as well. And it looks good. It looks great. I fully support this one. Next up, the Chicago Blackhawks, and 1996 is the year on the back of the collar. This does not look that different than any branding that we're used to from the Chicago Blackhawks. This looks great. I fully support this jersey. Next, the Colorado Avalanche, 1979. So this is a throwback to the Quebec Nordiques, and the repetitive logo, which is the C logo you see down at the bottom, is in place of the fleur-de-lis that you would see on a regular Nordiques jersey. You also see that on the shoulders. With the fleur-de-lis, it looks a little bit more like an emblem, where this is almost looks like an eye. So just in your peripheral vision, if you're looking at the logo in your peripheral vision, it almost looks like there's 2 eyes above and there's 3 eyes below or something. So it's a little bit weird to use that as the repetitive logo here. I would honestly maybe even prefer the Colorado Avalanche on the front like we see it, but then still use the fleur-de-lis on the bottom. That would be my personal preference, but I'm sure some will prefer the way that this looks, like he designed it. Next, the Dallas Stars. 1997 is the year. We've seen lots of this because it looks awesome. That's basically it. And there's something like this should happen, whether it's reverse retro, future Fanatics related, or what. I'd love to see it. Wow. Okay, Detroit, 1940. I do not remember what their 1940 jersey looked like, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't black and white, only in photos. But this looks actually pretty decent. I'm typically critical of Detroit Red Wings concepts that really step outside the box of Detroit, and I would consider stepping outside the box color-wise to be a pretty big step. But this actually doesn't look too bad. It's basically their home jersey with all the colors stripped out, a monochrome version of their home jersey or much of their branding in the past. So I'm okay with this personally as a non-Detroit Red Wings fan. Objectively, as an outsider, I think this is acceptable. Red Wings fans, you tell me, is this acceptable? Oilers, okay. 2 different shades of blue here. No orange, which is, I think, okay, actually. This looks pretty good. I get shades of a little bit of Winnipeg Jets, a little bit of Columbus Blue Jackets, but overall, I think this does look pretty good. I really like the way that the logo is colorized. You see 1973 in the back. I accept. What the heck is this? Florida Panthers with the Miami Matadors as the influence. 1998 is the year. 1998, the Miami Matadors. That must have been like a... It sounds familiar. Probably like an ECHL team or something like that. But the logo doesn't look familiar. It sounds familiar, but the logo doesn't look familiar, I guess is the best way to put that. The gold on there is a bit of a slap in the face to the Vegas Golden Knights, especially considering they're about to play each other as I film this. And these were submitted, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. So Yuri's got some interesting foresight here. But it's just okay. It's an interesting approach to a reverse retro jersey, but I don't think it would fly just from a gold perspective. Next, the LA Kings, 1970 on the back, so very close to their inaugural year. This jersey would have been either yellow or purple as the primary color, probably yellow. And in black and white, in their current colorizations, it does look okay. I think it's a little bit too close to the previous gray alternate that they just had, though, with their regular logo. You're really just kind of putting an old logo on it, and I don't think that's different enough to warrant a submission into the reverse retro lineup. I would expect a little bit more, I guess is what I'm saying, for a reverse retro series. Next, Minnesota Wild, 2003. I do remember this jersey. I was not a huge fan of it, but rearranged like this, it's okay. I think a digital version of this, as is we're looking at it right now, would look better, does look worse than a physical version. If this physically existed, I think it would look much better and in uniform would probably look pretty good as well. So a bit of a weird one. A lot of the times jerseys look better digitally than they do in real life. I think this is kind of the opposite, but I do like it. Next, the Montreal Canadiens. 1911 is the year here, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Montreal only wore a jersey that looked like this for 1 year, 1911 to 1912 season. And I don't think it was red. I think it was the inverse of this. I think it was white. So this totally fits into the reverse retro theme, and it looks very respectful, but I don't like it. It looks silly. Is what I was going to say. It looks silly. It looks like a wrestling belt or like a pageant belt or something. I don't know. I've just never been a fan of designs like this, but I appreciate the history. Next, the New Jersey Devils. You know what? Not bad. 1992 is the year, and I think that this may be the most, like, usually it's all white, it's, the majority of it's white, and then black is the secondary kind of color, or the majority of it's red, and black is still the secondary color, and there's some white in there. This is the whitest, reddest. That's a weird thing. That doesn't make any sense, but hopefully you know what I mean. This is the whitest, reddest Devils jersey I've ever seen in my life. The logo's been recolorized as well. It's pretty decent, actually. I don't mind it at all. Next, Nashville. You know what I'm going to say if you follow the channel. Get rid of the checkered pattern. It goes back to 2009, and I understand it. I just don't like it. However, this is one of the better concepts that I've seen that does use the checkered pattern, so I will give Yuri the thumbs up for his design here. It does look okay. I would personally not purchase this jersey for my collection, though. Moving on, the Islanders, 1984, so kind of an inverse of that jersey. We've got an orange primary. This would be very, I think, considered lazy, much like the first reverse retro from the Islanders. However, I think it would be quite popular. That's kind of conflicting statements or contradictory statements, but that's just how it works with the Islanders. It's kind of like Detroit. You just kind of keep it simple. So I think this would be very popular with the Islanders fans, especially since there is no fisherman influence. However, from a jersey collector, I would personally expect a little bit more. Next, the New York Rangers, 1978. So the Rangers home jersey currently says Rangers down the front, not New York. So to get essentially a white version or an away version of that jersey that says New York instead of Rangers, I would be okay for. I think this is a simple decision, but probably a pretty good one from the Rangers, or from Yuri, I guess. So good job. Next, the Ottawa Senators, 1999. This is kind of the jersey that I was hoping that we would get from the most recent 2.0 reverse retro series. We did get something similar, but not as nice as this. So I think Yuri really actually hit a home run with this one. This is kind of my era for watching hockey a lot, so I appreciate this design, Yuri, and I think it's one of the best so far in this series. Next, the Flyers, Quakers, absolutely. You see those repeating stripes? It's the Quakers. Also, any kind of Flyers text font on the front, that's a callback to the Quakers usually as well. 1930 is the year. It looks like a pylon jersey, but it is also kind of amazing at the same time, so I fully support this Quakers throwback. The Penguins. This is going to be a no from me. I don't like the shoulder patch logo. I'm not a huge fan of this design in general with these colors and the way that the logo shares much of the same color as the primary color on the jersey, that being yellow, with little to no separation around the edges. It's going to be a zonk from me. I'm not on board with this one. Seattle Kraken, the Seattle Seahawks, he has down below as the influence team, and I would say yes to the design, no to the colorization of the logo. I would personally prefer to have the Kraken be the darker blue. I think having it the lighter teal makes it a little bit hard to see, especially when you have so much darker blue around it. The numbers, all the colorization down below. So the only change that I would make, which is I guess a minimal change, would be to change the color of the font of the Kraken on the front. Moving on, the San Jose Sharks 2001 jersey. I do slightly remember this jersey. I think it was black, wasn't it? Maybe not. This is a very generic jersey. This is kind of like it's an interesting throwback, but not one that I would personally choose. It reminds me of a practice jersey, and because of that, I'm going to give it a bit of a zonk. I'll zonk this one. Next, the St. Louis Blues. I like these darker colors. So 1967, their inaugural year, and just just switching up the shades of colors, I think, possibly. The off-white it looks great, complemented with that darker blue, the yellow as well. The logo gets lost slightly in this, but this is actually a very, very nice concept. This is one of my favorites in this series. Next, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wow. I mean, this is very expected. It is very nice, 2001. I think this would look great in a uniform. Very logical choice here from Yuri. Good stuff. Nothing negative to say. St. Pat's, we see it lots. 1922 is the year here. We've seen 1,000 St. Pat's concepts, and they never look bad, but they never look amazing. It's always going to be a pretty good idea to honor that past. So you still get the thumbs up, but expected design. Canucks, we've seen this quite a bit as well, taking the black skate jersey. This one's from 1992, and putting on the current colors, the current branding. Looks good. I prefer the original though. Moving on to the Vegas Golden Knights. You see Las Vegas on the front. That is a callback to the Wranglers, I believe. It says that down below as well. Should have looked there first. 2003 is the year. This is almost certainly going to happen sometime in the future. And by going to happen, I don't necessarily mean this exact design, but a callback to the Wranglers. It's inevitable. It will happen. His design here is okay. I don't love the shoulder kind of logo. It's meant to look like a highlight. Like lights or whatnot. Don't love it on the shoulder. Like it on the bottom of the jersey. Logo's okay. This one's 50-50 for me. Wow. The Winnipeg Jets with the Atlanta Thrashers influence, using the previous reverse retro design almost to a T, logo and everything, but just switching up the colors for the Atlanta Thrashers. This is actually amazing. This feels incredibly retro. This feels like it was pulled from the late 70s, early 80s, just the shades of colors being used, the logo itself, the way it's designed. This is actually amazing. I love this. I really love this a lot. Only critical piece, the blue is only in the numbers. I would even argue you don't even need blue in this. Nice to have the Winnipeg, influence in there, but maybe even just make the numbers white or something. I'm not sure, or burgundy. Maybe that wouldn't look as good. I don't know. Not a fan of the blue numbers. Moving on, the Capitals. Actually, recently on the channel, we saw a concept that looked very similar to this. I loved it. I love this. This is fantastic. I have some friends who will not like this because they don't like this design in general, regardless of how it's colored, but I do like this one a lot. My favorite, this one's going to be difficult. Yuri, there's a lot of really, really good designs in here. I'm going to need a minute to go through these. This is absolutely one of the better sets that has been submitted recently for sure, or at least in 2023. And I'm a little conflicted. I've been sitting here for a couple minutes going through these. I can't really pick my favorite. I really like the Ottawa one, so we'll throw that one back up so you guys can see it as a bit of a shout out. I think that's going to be, it'll be in my top 3 for sure. However, I think I got to put the Winnipeg Jets in the top 3 as well. I'll do a top 3 today instead of my favorite. Winnipeg Jets definitely in the top 3. But thinking about the one that I think plays it safe in a good way, also looks good, would be very popular with the team's fans and jersey collectors, I think it's St. Louis. This is going to be my favorite for today. There are times when I will choose a more innovative design, kind of like the Winnipeg one, and there'll be times when I'm feeling a little bit more nostalgic, a little bit more classic, I guess, and historic. Today's one of those. This Friday is one of those Fridays. So I'm going to go with the St. Louis Blues as my favorite from this series. Yuri, thank you so much for submitting these. I really appreciate it. You had a lot of amazing designs in here. Looking forward to seeing more of your work in the future. And if you guys want to submit some jersey concepts of your own, please go down below in the description. There's details on how to do that and everything you need. There's even a video tutorial of, not really a tutorial, but a video step-by-step process of how to do it. So if you give that a watch, I'd really appreciate it. Hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend, and make sure you let us know down below in the comment section what was your favorite jersey concept from this video. If you did enjoy this, please hit the like button. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys soon. Adios.